Yo, where the cake at?
Where is it?
Chef Matt, you gotta make that.
Take that, take that.
Yeah, what's up
With the big man.
Cooking something better than fake crap.
Hey guys, what's going on? Chef Matt here. We're doing some beef chili. Pretty simple recipe. All the ingredients should show up right here by my beautiful cameraman, Brad. Brad Pitt, I call him. Okay.
Love it.
All right, first ingredient, 2 small onions, medium onions. I like to use Vidalia, sweet onions, medium dice, chopped. Right, that's what you want, a medium dice onion. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Moving on, jalapenos. 4 jalapenos. I like 4 jalapenos. I don't use the seeds on all of them because that would probably blow your head off. I'll probably use the seed on one of them and then the outside layer on the rest of the 3. Give you a little spice. It'll be really nice. Ooh, that rhymed. Chop. This part's the boring part. Where I just lose people. They're like, oh, all right, just chop this. Let me pause this part. A few seeds get in there. That's okay. You get a little spice, but it's all good.
A little spice is nice.
Little spice is nice, and let's spice it. I mean, that's what people call me. Let's spice it up. Throw out your little seeds. Do not touch your face after you cut a jalapeno, and do not touch other parts when you cut a jalapeno, if you know what I mean. All right, so I'm gonna make a little rice with the chili because it's kind of like peanut butter and jelly. It kind of goes together really well. I'm gonna use some bone broth, and I have some jasmine rice. And I think I've said this in my other videos, but if you weren't listening, then listen now. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, it's double the liquid to the rice you use, right? So I'm using almost 2 cups of rice. This is about 4 cups of bone broth, which again has over like 30 grams of protein just in the rice you're eating. So it's gonna be a nice protein bomb, which is, I always like that. All right, so basically I just put my 2 cups of rice, my 4 cups of bone broth. I put like maybe 2 teaspoons of salt and pepper, 2 tablespoons of salt and pepper, sorry. I'll bring it to a boil. When it gets to a boil, you go all the way down to a really low simmer. You cover it. Maybe 10 to 15 minutes later, you got rice for your chili. Let's do it. All right, little tip while you're getting all your mise en place ready. While that's happening, you should probably open your cans beforehand. Have them open just so you can kind of pour everything in right when everything's cooked off. So you're not like fumbling with your can opener. You know, you can't get it open, then you got to shut off the pot. Just have them ready. Easy, speasy. All right, so now it was just boiling. I just put it to a simmer, close it up. Should take about 10 minutes. All right, let's start cooking here. We got my pot. I'm gonna use some avocado oil on the bottom, just for my veggies. So maybe I'd say 4 to 5 tablespoons. Just coat the bottom. Pop this guy on high. Let that get nice and warm. And then when that's nice and warm, we'll throw our jalapenos and our onions in there. So stay tuned. All right, so it's been about a minute, like 30 seconds to a minute. Just get the oil nice and hot. You should kind of hear a little, there you go. You want to hear that little sizzle when it pops in, right? So that's the purpose of that. There we go.
Do you have your heat on high right now?
I have my heat on high. Thank you for asking, Brad. I got my heat on high. Get those onions and jalapenos cooked a little bit. We want to just kind of not caramelize them, but just like translucent, so you can kind of see through the onion a little bit. It should look like glass a little bit. Once at that point, then we can put the beef in, and then I'll go through every step with you from there. Little salt and pepper. Just a little bit. All right, so these are kind of at a point right now where maybe another like 15 or 20 seconds. They're on the translucent train, as you can see, the onions. So I'm gonna go from this point, right? And I didn't say it before, but I have this, is it right set up? There you go, grass-fed beef that I get. I always encourage people to get grass-fed if you can, because that means it's not eating corn its whole life, which is healthier for you. Get to this point, and I'm just popping the meat right in. There we go. That's it. Don't be afraid of any of this stuff. I would kind of maybe push it down a little bit, break it up. Again, your onions and jalapenos are still cooking, but now you want the meat to kind of release the fat and kind of cook. Again, it's beef, so you don't need to cook this well done. You know, it's okay if it's a little red when you put in the rest of your stuff, which is going to be the wet stuff, the tomato sauce, the barbecue sauce, and my little secret, I put a little cinnamon in with it. Kind of gives it like a sweetness that I think is really nice. You can tell me after you make it. This should take around, I'd say maybe like 3 to 5 minutes until you're kind of ready to put in all the wet ingredients. But you don't really have to babysit this too much. I would just give it a couple tosses after it starts cooking, and then you can give it a minute. And again, you know, season it as you go. So now the beef has a little salt and pepper in there. You can put a little chili powder at this point so it gets into the beef. Cinnamon I'll save for later. But that's kind of it. And then let it go. We'll come right back.
Just working that meat in there.
Just, you know, playing with my meat. Did you get that? Take a quick glance, but there's still water in there, so you don't want to touch it. Let it sit. All right, so basically the meat's almost done, right? You see the coloring? See how it's pretty much cooked, but there's still a little red in it. Do you want it to cook for maybe like another minute, maybe a minute and a half? And then we can add the tomato sauce, the barbecue, the seasoning. I just wanted to kind of touch base and let you guys know the reasoning I only use jalapenos or green onion is because I'm using tomato sauce. I'm going to use some corn, black beans, and then I have cilantro in it as well. So I like the coloring of it in general. You'll have the green, the white from the onion, the red, the yellow, the black from the beans, and then even more green from the cilantro. It gives a little freshness. So I like the color contrast, and that's kind of why I use like a green pepper or green or a jalapeno, whatever kind of suits you. So yeah, do whatever you want. All right, guys, let's start adding everything. We'll start eating soon because that's the best part. So meat's good to go. We stop the cooking. We put in tomatoes and tomato sauce. It's kind of like a whole crushed tomato that I put in there. You can do whatever you want. If you have diced tomatoes, whatever. I kind of use my spoon now to dice the tomatoes myself in here. So I have like really chunky tomatoes now left over, right? So that's my tomato process. Again, the better tomatoes, obviously, the better it's gonna taste. These are like a San Marzano, because I'm Italian and I need, you know, I can't mess around with my tomatoes. Very easy to find. And that's kind of, you get chunks of tomato right there like that, see? And that's that process. Clean out this. So that's the tomato side. And from the tomatoes, I have this barbecue sauce that I got from Whole Foods actually. So other thing when you're looking for barbecue sauces, everyone's like, oh, they have a lot of sugar, they have a lot of sugar. It's got some sugar, but not that much. And you just want to make sure it doesn't have like high fructose corn syrup or fake sugars. So I put about like, I want to say 4 tablespoons of barbecue sauce in, just for like the smokiness of it, kind of. And that kind of mix in with the tomato sauce as that's going. And now the fun part and the more obvious part is you need chili powder for chili, right? Pretty obvious. I'll just kind of dab away for a while, coat the top if you will. I'll show you what this looks like when I'm done. It's gonna look like a lot, but it needs the flavoring in the tomato sauce. So that's the top of the chili powder, right? And then we go maybe 2 tablespoons of salt and pepper. And then my little secret, little cinnamon. Probably do like 2 tablespoons of cinnamon as well. Just a little bit, but it gives it definitely a cool flavor. And then we will mix this up. Get all those flavors in there. At this point, I like to kind of taste it just to see if I have the sweet and the salty flavor. And that tastes pretty good. So from this point on, I'll add my beans. And then my sweet corn. And then you can see it really come together now. It really starts looking like a chili now. Right? You got your colors, you got your everything I was talking about, right? Green, red, yellow, a little white from the onion. And then we add the cilantro for freshness, and I'm telling you, it's such an easy, delicious chili that I highly recommend. You can keep it in your fridge for a couple days too. It's great over some rice. Just, get it done. And one other thing that I didn't really say earlier is, a lot of people like to put like cheese on their chili or sour cream. Huge protein tip, cottage cheese is such an underrated protein for the calories macro-wise, which is like so good on chili. Another thing my brother uses is Greek yogurt as well. Those are 2 way better options than shredded cheese or sour cream. Much more as far as like protein, and I think they even taste better. So check that out, try that. Let's get this going. So now I'll let this sit for probably maybe 10 or 15 minutes, kind of just let it all cook together. I'll probably put it down to like a medium and let it do its thing, maybe like even a little lower than a medium, and just let this sit now. Then I'll come back, hit it with the cilantro, I'll give it one more taste, see what it needs, and then let's eat it. All right, so we just chopped the cilantro up. It's pretty straightforward. Again, cilantro, you can use a little bit of the, what's what I'm looking for, Brad? What is this called?
That's a stem.
A stem, thank you. Thank you, Cam. So, don't be afraid to use a little stem on the cilantro. And just go for it. I know everybody cuts like this, so nothing's impressive anymore. All right, so basically I just chopped up some cilantro. I'm gonna add this to the chili. It kind of gives it like a brightness and a freshness on top of like the spicy, the sweet, everything else you could think of. So let's add it in. You don't have to put this on, but let's get a little more of that for sweetness.
Don't tell them about that. That's the secret ingredient.
All right, so that's how it should look when it's done, right? Now you close it and you shut it off. Let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. Over here, 5 to 10 minutes. When that rice is done in 5 to 10 minutes after it sits, we can eat it.
Like, zoom in.
Zoom it 5 to 10 minutes, and the rice is done. And this is the finished product, right? You want everything kind of morphed into each other. So I kind of, after I put all the ingredients in, I let it cook before I put the cilantro in for about 10 minutes. I add the cilantro. I let it cook for maybe another 3 to 5 minutes, and then it's pretty much that simple. you know, and then you taste it, you add what you want. You think it needs more salt, put more salt. You think it needs a little more sweetness, you put a little more barbecue sauce, and then you eat it. And that's it. And I'm gonna feed my camera guys right now and see what they think.
Yes.
Let's do it. Some bone broth. All right. For the boys. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. So I know I said cottage cheese, but I like a little bit of like acid on mine as well. And I'm making it for my guys here. So put a little on.
Fruit acid.
Fruit acid. Fruit acid. Thank you. Yeah. Bon appetit. And don't forget, eat right and keep moving.
You can smell all the different ingredients in it. It smells great. You even smell the cinnamon. Even without the cheese, it still is delicious. Chef Matt, you did it again.
Thanks, Brad. Love the hat.
Thank you.
I just want to say from Chef Matt and his crew, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Happy New Year, and don't forget, eat right and keep moving.